I'm doing that. You'll see that now that turned red. Excellent. So let me just shut my camera off. It usually helps with saving bandwidth. And then I'll show you around Teams so that it's easy for us to communicate during this presentation. So up here you'll see we have the red dot that shows that the camera is recording. This time does not show when it started recording, but it shows when the meeting first started. Here is the people that are participating in it. And it looks like we have a nice group. So this is great. If you need to come off microphone and that's easier, please do that and ask your questions. I want this presentation to be meaningful for you and helpful. So that will not bother me at all. And I just want to show you up here, this is a great tool. A lot of teachers like this. This is where you can manage your permissions and for how the meeting is run. Let me show you what your options are. In here, you can have some protections and permissions, how you want someone to enter a meeting. Today I have it set for anyone can enter the meeting. I don't need to admit them. As long as they have this link to the meeting, they can enter. You can set it for people only in your organization or trusted organizations, people only in your organization, or only me. If you set it to only me, then you're going to need to admit everyone that enters. So it depends on the class you're teaching. If something is becoming problematic and you want to work on that digital citizenship, maybe that's something you want to have. Then here, announce when callers join or leave. That's at your discretion. I'm actually going to shut that off today for people's privacy. And then here you have who can present. So we could have it as everyone, people in the organization, specific people, or only me. I trust you all, but I'm going to press only me just to be on the safe side. But if I needed to share my screen with someone, I could do that. You can also set those permissions before when you're creating the meeting as well. I'll show you when we schedule a meeting where you can find those. The other great option here is download attendance list. So you can download, it will create an Excel file and it will show you a list of names of the people in the meeting, what time they entered, and when they left the meeting. So right now, the meeting has to be live and active for that to work. They're coming out with, for that to be a feature, that you can download it afterwards in the fall. But just beware, and only the organizer of the meeting can download the attendance lists. You do have the option to make other people, if you see I'm clicking on Kimberly's name right here, I can change it, I can pin her screen, I can make her a presenter, or I can remove her. So you do have options as an organizer there. So all of that is under the participants. Next is our chat. And in our chat, you can see here, it gives you a message that the recording has started. I earlier today uploaded and shared all the files for each of the PowerPoint presentations that I'm going to share with you. Those all got uploaded to the chat. So it's going to give you some information about what's happening. Down here you have options for the chat. So this is where if you do have questions and you don't want to come off mic today, this is where you can post them. I like pressing the format button. I feel like it gives me more options. And when you open it up, it gives you what almost looks like a Word document. And you have a lot of options to include things, bullets, tables, inserting links. Oh, sorry, clicked outside my box there. There we go. You can also mark things as urgent, important. You can attach files. Now, it depends on your district permissions, but you can have emojis, GIFs, stickers. The kids love the stickers. Some of these are custom. You can customize. Lots of fun things for them. You also have another way of getting them there. So just know that that's there for you. Type your questions in there as you need today. Raising hand feature. So I just clicked the raise hand feature and you can see here it gave me a 1. I'm going to ask I'm going to take my hand off. I'm going to go back to our list. I want to pick someone at the bottom. Catherine or Tammy, will you do me a favor and raise your hand? You're going to see their name pop up to the top. So what the raise hand feature does, thank you, Catherine, spectacular. So it gave me that notice up top. You see Catherine's got a little hand feature next to her name, but what it does is it puts everyone in sequence. So you will see who raised their hand and in what order. As the organizer, I do have the ability to lower hands too. So that is something you can do. Here are more actions that you have. Device settings, that's really your computer and your camera. Meeting notes. I want to point out with meeting notes, those are not private notes. Whatever notes get taken in there will be visible to everyone in the entire meeting. So just to make mind of that. Right now we're in gallery mode. I have a slide in our PowerPoint where I will show all of these and when they're getting rolled out to you all. So how Microsoft rolls out new products is in waves. It's not a one big whoosh where it's out to everybody. So if there's something, I'm in a Microsoft test tenant, and so I get access to everything a little bit ahead of time. So you may not see exactly the same things today, but know they're coming out. I have a couple people, I love that you got your camera on. Would you mind if we model together mode? I'm going to model to you, and then I'm going to show you a little video and give you, we're just going to model one of them today. I'm going to show you a little video later and it'll model all of them. If we go into together mode, anybody wants to come off and show their video, what this is going to do is it makes it really fun and puts us all in the same picture. So as we roll out, I know, good morning, good afternoon, actually. I'm going to show you a video later. There's a lot more options that are coming out. This is the current one out currently. So thank you all for being good sports and trying that with me before we get rolling with the rest of our presentation. I won't torture you. We'll go back to gallery mode. But it's a fun way. I know when I present and I turn that on, it's so fun to see people's body languages. Everyone kind of perks up. So I think students are going to enjoy that one a lot. Here, just another couple problem solving things I want to show you. Applying your background effects. They've put out a lot of fun ones for classrooms. So you actually have a classroom, you have a bunch of sci-fi looking ones, and they're adding ones all the time. You can also customize those. Once you can pick that, once you pick it, every time you turn your camera on, it will be behind you. So you don't have to keep resetting that. Then one of the last things, so here's where we did the recording. If a student needs, or anyone that you're meeting with needs live captions, they'll find that under this menu. And then turning off incoming video. What that does is if you have poor bandwidth, or maybe one of your students does, when I show videos in our presentation that I'll start in a couple minutes, if you're having trouble with reception, then you might want to enable that. Because what it'll do is it will keep you logged into the meeting, but it will stop showing those videos or those high data presentation parts of the presentation. So it won't bounce you off the call. So just know if someone's struggling with bandwidth, that might be a good option for them. Your microphone. As a presenter too, if I go back to people, I can mute all. And so you do have that option. This just controls my personal microphone. Here's our presentation. So this is where I start to screen share from up top here. When I screen share, I like to choose desktop, and I don't pick one individual screen. And the reason for that is you can see down here, I still have access to everything. So with other formats, a lot of times you have to share one screen, stop sharing it, then pull up your next screen. You don't have to do that in Teams. So especially if you do that format of desktop, it makes a nice difference. The other thing, if you are going to be showing video, you want to make sure that your speakers are enabled. So right above, so the desktop sharing will be like on your left part of the screen where your choices are, and then right above that it'll say include audio, and you're going to want to do that. If you forget to, if you keep your mouse over at the top and scroll up, it'll give you another little separate option. All right. As long as we're comfortable with meeting, you feel good about where to put chat, I'm going to start jumping into the presentation. And like I said, stop me at any point because I want this to be comfortable for you. So I kind of did this a little backwards, but I want to make sure everyone's comfortable with meeting first. My name's Jennifer Jury. I was a classroom teacher for over 10 years before becoming a Microsoft Learning consultant. Here is my email. Please reach out to me. I work with teachers all the time. I'm also going to give you a bookings link that I created. It's a site where you can schedule one-on-one meetings with me. You can schedule small group meetings with me, invite me to your PLT, whatever. I am a resource for you. There is no cost to it. Microsoft pays all the fees, so please take advantage of that. Here is my Twitter handle. I like to really keep up to date with Microsoft. They are constantly putting out new things. I was just listening to an engineer for Whiteboard, and almost every 2 weeks they're putting out something new. This week, Flipgrid announced an entire new setup and format for theirs. So they're definitely take a look, and if you were looking for what's coming out, follow me. I'll try and keep you up to date. We talked a little bit already about some of these things with the meeting ribbons, chat, Whiteboard. I'm going to show you some of that. We talked about the meeting analytics and how you can pull the attendance. Then we're going to go, I'm just going to give you a good overview of Teams. I've built some demo teams to show you today. I sometimes think if you have an end product, it gives you a good idea of where to go with it. And I'm going to leave you with tons of resources, tons of help features, because I know I'm throwing a lot at you today, and I know you all have a lot on your plate. I've been in your shoes. I was doing remote teaching in the spring, this past spring. So I want to show you, we talked about the meeting and the settings. You're going to see this screen as you were joining the meeting today. If your camera is off, this is going to be grayed out here. If you turn your camera on, this will then enable those backgrounds. So I showed you how to enable your backgrounds once you're in the meeting. If you want to set them before you go in, make sure your camera's on, this will light up, and then you'll have your meeting settings there for your backgrounds. We've already covered the attendance. I just want to reiterate this, the check and the X, that's your permissions. The download is your attendance. It can also be, as I said, it was an Excel file. You can also convert it to a CSV file. Again, meeting organizers are the only ones that can do that. And then if you need more information on policies, everything in the PowerPoint is a live link. So you can click on things, you'll have that information for you. Here are the is together mode. You'll get to see the other backgrounds that are coming out.
Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork in Microsoft 365. It's one place where people can chat, share files, and work together. But now that video conferences are the new normal, there are times when people need to feel like they're in the same room. That's when you can turn on Together Mode. It puts your team in one shared space. Microsoft AI helps break down barriers, letting you communicate more naturally and feel more connected to your team. It works for coffee breaks, team meetings, or your next all hands. So from everyday get-togethers to important meetings, be together even when you're apart.
So I always think that especially that all hands one that they refer to, that's the one we were in. That would be so neat for kids if they have to give presentations. It might just be a little more fun and engaging than just talking to their little white dot on their computer screen. Microsoft, like I was saying earlier, is putting out a lot of new things for Whiteboard. So what they're working on doing is they've added these sticky notes, and this Whiteboard is what you can launch. So instead of sharing the desktop, you would just choose Whiteboard. And then what it does is it launches an individual whiteboard for everyone that is in your team meeting. I'm going to give you a workaround. If you just wanted to present a whiteboard, but you didn't want the kids to have access to that collaboration and the writing on it, what I would do is I would launch either the desktop whiteboard or from office.com, launch the browser version and just share your desktop screen. That way the kids could see you writing on the whiteboard without being able to touch it. If you wanted them to have access and that collaboration element, launch it right from the meeting. But what they're doing is, so they've added sticky notes, they've added text boxes so you can just type, and they've added drag and drop capabilities. That way, when you're in a meeting with everyone, whether they have a touch screen or not, they will be able to participate and have that same functionality. So they're really trying to make it accessible across all the devices. So now we'll start talking about Teams. I gave you all about Teams meeting. Now we'll get into the heart of what are Teams. So Teams is your hub for communication, content, and collaboration. It's everything in one spot. And I think you're going to love the different options that you have. So I want to first start by showing you how Omaha Public Schools has been using Teams and what they have to say about it.
Over the course of the last 4 years, Omaha Public Schools has been in a transformation mode. We really tried to look at what should happen in the classroom today. Many times what you saw was a lack of use of technology within the classroom, and what we're doing right now is really purposeful.
Children that are in school now have never lived in an era where there's not been technology right at their fingertips. So it just makes sense to reach them at that level.
I love walking into those classrooms to see how kids engage with technology. We talk about the 4 C's a lot, so it's communication, collaboration, critical thinking skills, and creativity. Teams really does all of them. It's highly collaborative because I have conversations more in real time, more informal, and more consistent. I have the ability to bring in apps that I would use, like OneNote. Then whenever you add video into the mix, I have real-time face-to-face happening. All those pieces together create an environment that you just don't see in anything today. Well, within Teams, there's instant feedback back to that student and collaboration between students within an environment that's safe and effective for classroom learning. That learning process extends well beyond the confines of a school. Learning can happen just about anywhere.
It's just a better way of communicating because if you're not going to see somebody, you can still communicate with them even though they're not there.
Being a teacher, you never have all the answers, so it is nice to be able to collaborate with other team members, whether it be down the hallway, in another part of the building, or in another state. Using Teams is just an easy way to get more ideas on how to reach the kids in the classroom.
Teachers get a digital hub for classrooms and professional learning all in one area. There's a lot of power that can come out of that. First and foremost, you have to have amazing teachers. Secondly, I think you have to have great leadership. And then thirdly, I think you need opportunities. Whenever students have the opportunity to connect the dots, that's when learning is purposeful, because that's going to drive them to be who they can be.
So how do we log into Teams and get started creating those collaboration spaces? You have a couple different ways to do that. You can start with logging in with your Windows, and you can access Teams there if you have it downloaded. If you do not have it downloaded or do not have the capability to download it, I'm going to show you how to access it through office.com. If you have a Mac, you can access it through applications. And then I love to have it on my phone. And what I like about having that app on my phone, which is completely free, is the fact that if I walk away from my desktop, um, if I get a chat or someone rings me, it will also ring my phone and I can choose to answer it or not. But I love having that little bit of mobility with it. So when you're going to sign in, you're going to use the email that your district gave to you, because that's what they tied to the Microsoft account. So we're going to take a look at going into office.com. If you ever do presentations with me, you're going to hear that said again and again. Office.com is your place for everything. And once you start using it, you'll love it, because you can, from here, you can create a new document. You don't have to open up Word, select new, and do all those steps. It really has a beautiful workflow to it and a nice connection across the products. So we're going to take a look at going into Teams. Here's your icon. If for some reason you don't see Teams, click All Apps, and then you're going to get more apps than you're going to want. But always take a look there if you don't see what you're looking for. So here's Teams. I'm going to launch that. And once I do that, we are into the main heart of Teams. I'm going to take a little step back. This is the preschool Teams that I know when I spoke with Samantha Allen, she mentioned your school went from pre-K up through 5th or 6th grade. So I wanted to make sure I pulled up the preschool model today. So we'll walk through that in a minute. But let me show you back. If you have never joined Teams before, you're going to have, these are all the teams that I have either created or I belong to. If you've never been in Teams before, yours will be blank and you will just see this join or create a team. So this is where you're going to start. So you will click create a team. Then you have choices. Now in the PowerPoint presentation, I've left it as a resource for you. I've broken down what each one of these choices are. I'm going to run through them quickly, but know there's a much more detailed version in the PowerPoint, and I'll show you where that is later. So a class team is where you have an owner, or you can have multiple owners, but it's really like that lead teacher, and then you have members. The lead teacher sets all the permissions, and the members have they can have a numerous amount of permissions set by the owner. The other thing that comes with the class notebook, now you'll get those same collaboration spaces, content, all of that'll be there. There's a set amount of features that are in each one of these across all 4. But what you're going to get that's different, you're going to also get a class notebook in this. And we're going to go into what a class notebook is when we get into OneNote. In the professional learning community, the permissions are a little bit different. Everyone is an owner here. So everyone has equal stake, everyone has equal ownership, and you're going to get a professional, a learning notebook. In staff, it is really meant for someone in a leadership position who is overseeing a group of people. What's nice about this one is, and this still may fit your needs, but the notebook is set up a little bit differently. You can share out documents, but you can't collect back the binders that you can't in the way that you can in a class notebook. So the distribution that way is slightly different. But you have like a main owner of the team, or you can have a couple owners. And then you have this collaboration space and the content library. I'll show you what all those are. But then you have these private workspaces. And so if you have a principal, and then every staff will have their own little private binder, and then it can be a semi-private workspace to work on professional development, but in that semi-private binder, only that one single staff member and the admin would see those documents. So it wouldn't be something that would be visible to everyone. Where in a professional learning community, it's equal ownership, everyone's seeing everything. Then other, you can customize it. Great for PTAs, great for after school activities, and you can really customize the owners, the memberships, however you need them to be. So I'm going to just show you to a class one just to get you started. This could be demo 3. I'll click next. You can give a description if you want. You add your students. If you don't want to add students, I'm going to show you where there's a code and you can just send that to the kids and they can all join themselves. If you have co-teachers or special ed teachers or CCR teachers that you want to have access, this is where you can add their email addresses and give them some ownership rights in your team. I'm going to skip the next step because I want to move to a team that I've already created for you. So if we look here, I'm going past it here. Here we go. This is a notebook that I've divided kind of in a lower elementary and an upper elementary. So it depends on how your class is configured. If you switch for subjects, if you don't, that'll be up to you. So when you first get in, the only thing you're going to see is general. Any of these are called channels. These are going to be created by you. So you're just going to have the general and you're going to have across the top. I'm going to show you where all of the management of the team happens. This is where you're going to want to take some time and go through and get it set at a level that you're comfortable. So you can see here, I'm listed as the owner. We have 9 members or guests. Some of these are my counterparts throughout the country. We'll share binders with each, notebooks with each other, and teams with each other to give each other ideas. So right now, if you had someone who wanted to join and they put a request in, because that's what you have permission set up as, this is where those requests would show up and then you could approve or exclude them. Channels. So you can see here where I've created the channels. This is where you can set them for everyone to see, or you can set private channels. Maybe you're going to work in a small group with a few students, maybe do some one-on-one meetings or working with someone in one-on-one. So this is where you're going to set up some of those permissions. Then in here in settings is where we're going to get to the meat of the permissions. Here's where you can have the fun part of picking your theme and deciding what little icon you want or initials. That'll be your theme. Here's the member permissions. This is where you want to really look at, do you want them to be allowed to upload custom apps? Do you want them to be able to delete messages? So this is where you want to really spend a little bit of time, and as your students become more savvy with this, as they become more comfortable with this, you can choose how you want to allow them to interact. Guest permissions, it's kind of even that one more step removed. They have less permissions. Here is what we call an @mention. An @mention is if I put an @ in front of someone's name, they will get a special notification over here in their personal section that they've been mentioned. So if you need to make sure that a certain group of kids see something, you could @mention them. If you wanted to reward a couple kids and give them public praise, you could @mention them. Here is that team code. So when you first log in, it'll say generate code. This is what you could share with the students. And if you look back here into our teams, it said join or create a team. This is where the kids would enter that code and join your team. So that's another option if you didn't want to have to enter all your students' names. Let me go back in here to managing our channel. We were under settings, and that was under team code. Fun stuff. Now this is, again, it's up to you how you want to handle it. This is where you're going to give all the permissions for stickers, memes, all of that. A OneNote class notebook, if you're going to manage that, you'll handle that under class notebook, really. And then you have tags. Analytics. These are just going to give you an overall feeling of what is going on in your classroom. It's not going to give you specifics about individual kids. So, but it will show you how many posts, replies, mentions, reactions in a very general, broad sense. I'm going to show you an app later. These are all the apps that are tied to the room. I'm going to show you an app called Insights. That's going to give you a much bigger breakdown. So let's go over here to an example of an elementary channel. So this would be like an ELA. I have incorporated so many different things in this. I've included forms, quizzes. You can include Pear Deck, Kahoot, Powtoon. For example, this is a Powtoon recording of myself teaching a lesson.
Hi, today I'm going to model how to do an opinion writing. First, we're going to state our...
So you all don't need to listen to that. I want to bore you with that. But just know if there's something you love, you can add it. That Microsoft does a really great job of playing nice with everyone. So just know all of that can be added in a post. So here again, this looks very similar to these are considered posts. This is where you can put out an announcement. This is where you could post an activity, anything that you want this class, this channel to see is going to go here. In general, what's going to happen is anything that gets posted, this is like just that big old bulletin board at the end of the hallway. Everything will land here. If you add an app, that'll get posted here. All of those things. So let me just go back here. If you want to respond to just a specific post, you press reply. If you do start here, this will start a new post. If there is a post that maybe you just don't need to reply to, but you want to acknowledge, you do have all of these options here. And you can see even angry. You know, someone posts homework, you might get a few angries, but you know, the kids can have fun with that. Again, you can enable that. It's up to you. I want to let you know too, again, anytime you see these three dots, it means there's a menu, the ellipse. You have a lot of options here. Translate and Immersive Reader are built in everywhere. So your students are really going to have some nice options for being independent. So you're going to, you know, this might be nice to take a moment and make sure that they're familiar and that they know that these are available to them throughout Teams and OneNote. And we'll talk a little bit more about those again. So here, what's nice is if you're teaching 3 different math classes, I can post in multiple channels and I can select all of the channels, even if I create other teams. So sometimes teachers like to create a team for each class. Well, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can just do multiple posts and it will go to any channel I want. So that gives a really nice ease to workflow, and it frees you up a bit. Here again, you have the ability to attach files. You have all your fun stuff. Stream. If you're using Microsoft Stream, you can embed your videos here. Stream is it's kind of Microsoft's answer to YouTube, but it is private. It is secure. It is can only share within your organization. No one from outside your organization has access to it. So what's nice too is it eases up a little bit of the copyright. So any copyrights that you could show something to your classroom without penalty would apply to Stream, because you can only show it to your classroom. It is not accessible to the outside. We can do, if you want more information on Stream, let me know. I'll be happy to help you with that. You can record in Stream. Today, this recording for the meeting, afterwards when we get done, it will get processed through Stream. I'll get an email saying it's ready, and it'll get posted in the chat for today's meeting. Praise. This is an awesome one. I love this one. So this is, you can, send out a personalized, so this is where it's going to give that app mention. So maybe I want to say something to student number 18, way to go on sharing, or great teamwork, I'll just say, keep it simple. And they're going to get an app mention specific to them. It'll preview. So it's showing that I sent it, it's mentioning them, and then it's giving them that message. And then if I send it, it will post it, it will praise them publicly, and they'll get an app mention saying that they were recognized. So it's just a really great way to keep the kids engaged. I have Bunsy added here. You can add checklists if there's things there's a project coming up, you want to make sure the kids are on top of things. You can add polls, and then the students will see the results in real time. So that's a really fun one. And then you have more options here these are other apps that I have available. So I want to move over here to all the channels have files. I'm going to go back to the general one because I want to go across the top. We've talked about posts. In files, what's so great about this is if you post something in class materials, it is a view only for the kids. Now, again, you can create right from here. You don't have to exit and create elsewhere. You can create in here, it will live in here. You can upload from your desktop, files, folders, whatever you need to, copy links, download, and then Microsoft, like I said earlier, we like to play nice. So you can add cloud storage from anywhere, Google, Dropbox, SharePoint, whatever, any one of those services that you're using. One of the great parts, and then we're going to talk about this a little more, especially when we look at like a PLC and a staff team. What's so nice about these is when you upload a document, that document is a copy of the original. So what I mean is if I have something on my desktop that I want to share with my teammates, I can upload it to our team. The original stays on my computer, and then that copy, even if it's altered, whatever, will stay there. If I leave the organization, my information stays. So that's where this becomes so valuable when you're working in those professional learning communities, because all of that knowledge and information stays. Notebook. We're going to talk about this a little bit when we get to OneNote, but you have complete integration here. Assignments. You can create an assignment. Let me show you this one. If I go into edit, it'll show you how to create it. So let me just, hang on, I went too far. So we're going to go to Henry and Mudge. I want to also show you, you can see student view, and this is what they're going to see. And then if we go into edit the assignment, this is where as I created it, it was blank. I put in my title, instructions, Henry and Mudge. I included a form, and then form also has immersive reader. And then here too, I can post to different channels. I can post these assignments where I need them to go. Then over here in grades, you will see, you can have all the kids' grades listed. You can export. You don't need to put the grades in. If you're comfortable with a different format, this isn't something you even have to use. So what happens with a class is they're going to give you this basic template, and you can choose or not, choose to use it. It is there for you if you like. Insight, I do like adding that app, and I'll show you why. So this is a demo team. I don't have a lot of great insight on here, but it's going to show you your activity, average grades if you're using that, on-time assignments, average feedback. You can do it for all time, 30 days, 7 days, a day, or today, or specific. And it will go through, and this is where you're going to get that much more specific information about individual students. If you want to add, and there's something that you love that you always use, maybe you love to use Kahoot, maybe you love Pear Deck. There is so much here, and it will add a direct tab and link in there. So again, everything is in one place. All of your content, your communication is all here. So you don't have to run around getting everything. Your students don't have to bounce around into getting all those different, going to all the different sites. They're all there. They all live in here, and it's just easy access for everyone. I want to now, I know, any questions with a classroom team before we move on to showing you professional learning ones? We're doing okay? I don't see any hand raising. All right, looks good. If anything happens, stop me. I want to make sure this works for you. So I want to show you a professional learning one and what that's going to look like. So I was thinking about that a professional learning one I thought fit really great for your grade levels. In the respect of could be your place where everything lives for your grade level. This could be your ELA, your math, science, social studies, whatever you're working on. You could take a poll I put in here for where should we go for our fall field trip and get that information. Then you could upload all the files for the field trip and all the information and the permission slips. So you don't have to worry about emailing your grade partners. You don't have to worry about keeping track of all that communication. One of the nice kind of happy accidents that will happen if you start using Teams is it cuts down on emails. It cuts down on finding your files. Everything lives in one place, and all of those communications and chats become so simple and automatic that it really cuts down on all that extra noise and clutter. So here you have files. Now you'll see you don't have that class notebook because we're in a shared community where everything has equal rights. And then here you can have notes. So you have a little extra layer there. And I just want to point out too, in both the classroom and here, this is where you can also schedule meetings. So say I want to go back here to post. I'm going to schedule a meeting for our science group. So you can see right here, it's going to post right to that channel. And I'm going to say field trip meeting. Now they're not going to like me, but I'm going to schedule it for tomorrow for Saturday, just so it's easy on my calendar. And I'm going to send it to that channel. And now it's there. So I don't now have to send out a meeting link to everyone. This is posted there. They can access the meeting right from here, join it. And then here's your meeting options that we talked about. Remember I showed you that X and check. Here are those same meeting options where I can set that for our grade level. And it's there for everybody. It saves me from emailing and telling everyone it's there. They can give a good little thumbs up that they saw it, and it just makes it easy. You can set up office hours for your kids, and they just go back to that same link again and again and again because you can make it so it's a reoccurring meeting. So that, to me, I think makes it really easy to communicate with your grade partners, have everything live in one spot, and have great access to everything. So that's how I would use the PLC classroom. Again, you can add any tabs you need, websites, maybe you want to add a link to where that pumpkin patch is in that website. It can all be there in one spot. Let's take a look at you're going to like this. This one I'm really excited about because I haven't worked that much with the staff team. And so I did some research for you guys. And what I'm going to show you, you can apply to everything. But when I saw this, I was like, oh, the principals and heads of department are going to love this. So a lot of times when you're a chair of a department or something like that, you have to push out a lot of material. So having a staff team and staff notebook can really ease that. And you can see over here, I set up a grade for each grade level. Now, I was more thinking of this as general communications and for putting out information that either the whole school needed or that was specific to our staff. So here again, you have the posts, you have all those options that are uniform across all of them. I even I put our meeting in here just as a little, Microsoft Teams, OneNote training, Flipgrid. You could put out a reminder and then include the meeting link. So that way could get broadcast to your entire school. Again, you have those same file sharing. And then you have all of those things. This is something that would get shared out, so people would have access to it. You don't have that same view only. This is where, with these staff notebooks, I'm going to make a little transition because I want to show you how you really can incorporate some things. So in your staff notebook, you have a collaboration space. Think of it as a big whiteboard. It's a document that anyone and everyone can work on. It's great for staff meetings, initiatives, things that you want people to have input on. Now, the content library, so you could write down your staff meetings, date them, keep adding pages. This could maybe be the 9/5 staff meeting, and then you can add all of your notes for that staff meeting. You can put out shared resources. So you could add your student handbooks, things like that need there. Initiatives. You can set the tabs for what you need. And then we also have these fun tags. We can talk more about these too when we get in OneNote. And then you have content library. This is view only. So this is where it might be great. You can share student achievement scores. And this way, everyone in your entire school will see it. You can share policies. You can share, emails, things of that nature. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. Policies and procedures. This is maybe where you want to add some of those handbooks. And then you have a leader only section. This is where a principal or a head of a department can work on documents before they share them out. If they want to share them out, they can distribute the page to the members of this document. But I want to show you how easy it is to add content that you've already created. You don't need to recreate it. I want to show you an example. So here is an inclement information. If I want to add this, I have a couple options. I can go to print, and I can, under print, instead of choosing a printer, I can choose my Windows 10. And this is going to go to that OneNote. So when I print that, you're going to see at the bottom, my OneNote starts flashing. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to ask me where I want it to go to. So which notebook do I want it in? So I'm going to scroll down. We are in this demo today. I want to put this in, maybe I'm going to put it in the content library because it's a view-only document. And I'm going to put it under policies and procedures. and I'm going to click OK. And it is now in there for us to see. So you can take a Word document and it will automatically share it to that. One of the other nice features is if you are in here in a Word document and your email, you have the option to share that email. So if you're, got an email from a parent and you need to share that with your admin, you might want to put that in your little binder area where it's only the two of you are seeing. You can click on OneNote, choose the OneNote, choose the file you want it under, and send it. The other thing you can do, where I think this is so good with the whole staff team, so say the district pushes out an email and the principal or head of a department or anyone needs to share it with the entire staff. You can go to Share Teams, choose the team you want to share it, choose the message. I can type, I want to put it under General. So I want to go here. I can find General. Where's our one from today? Did I pass it? Here's our general, our demo for the team staff. I can share that and it's going to be there for me. So if we go back over here to our team, make sure I'm in the right team. I go back to our demo staff. There is that evaluation that I just emailed to the entire staff, and it's done with one click. So you don't have to go and download something, attach it, upload, get everybody's emails. It's all there. So when people join that team, what Microsoft did was it created a group and it made an automatic grouping of everyone's emails, and everyone will get a notice that this has been added. So you can see here in this is my personal space. So anything that happens in any of my teams, I'll get a notice over here. So as people are adding posts to the teams I belong to, as people are adding content to the teams I belong to, I'm going to get a notice over here. And that's where we're going to go next. So over here, you can see, even though we're in a team meeting, this never goes away. That you have access to this even when you're in a meeting. So what's nice is here is that activity. It is all of anybody who's doing a post or putting out something to any of the teams I belong in. There's filter options. I can look at those and if there's something specific I'm looking for. Chats. You can see I pinned my chat with organizing for your today so that I had it easy for me to access. Here is our chat that we are in as part of our group today. So when we join this team meeting, it made a chat for us. It's going to keep everything that we have here. There's 3 PowerPoints for today. Here's where the meeting started. And you can see right now we've been quiet. So that's there. So these are all the chats. What's nice is I've been in meetings where maybe someone joined that I didn't know, and I could have a grade partner would tell me like, oh, that's so-and-so, or so it's nice to have those little side conversations sometimes too and have that availability. Here are the teams. I showed you earlier, anything that I belong to or created is here. Assignments. Any assignments that I put out or that I created are here. So if we look at that one that I created, you'll see there's 4 draft assignments, and then there's a couple that have been already graded. Calendar. This is where we can create our meetings. So you can schedule a meeting, you can schedule a live event. What's nice about this, especially if you're working with grade partners, so if I type in the title, I put who I'd like to attend, they can have response options where I request a response. They can forward it. You have some options here. But you also have scheduling assist. So you can see other people's calendars, and it will give you, try to find a time where you are both available. So again, it saves that emails back and forth. It helps with that workflow. Here you can decide on a time, date. Is it repeating? Am I posting it to a channel? Here's all my teams I belong to. If I click on these, then here's the one that's no notebook, but either way, and it'll show you which channels I want to post to. So you can post it to multiple channels. And again, it saves you that having to take those extra steps of notifying everyone. You can put details, agendas in here. If it is not a online meeting, but there's an actual location, you can add that too. And then again, here you have all those options for writing the details out. Once you save that meeting, then you can go in and create all of your meeting options. So we did that field trip meeting there. If I want to go in, I can either double click or click edit. And if I open that up, now I have my meeting options. I can say who can enter, who can't. Here's your team link. You can send that out to people if you need to. And then what nice thing that Microsoft does, anything that gets added to my team calendar automatically gets added to my Outlook calendar. So if I go over here to my calendar, you will see the demo field trip meeting got added. I didn't have to do anything. You can also create here a meeting, and you can say that it is a Teams meeting, and it will add a Teams meeting link. So it goes both ways, back and forth. So that does this really great workflow and keeps everything organized for you. Here are calls. In my tenant, we don't have this availability. If your school does, you will see a keypad here, like to punch in numbers. So for me, I don't have that available to make outside calls, but I can call people within my organization. Here are all the files that I'm associated with. Again, here are the different cloud storages I use, all there for you. Here is where the most common apps or apps that I've used recently, and this is kind of where you can go shopping. And that you can see they have ones just for educators. You see Flipgrid, Kahoot. You have so much available to you. Wakelet. So take a look, lots there, and then this is my favorite button of all. Microsoft, I have to praise them. I say this every time I present. They do such a good job of having help at every turn. If you like step-by-step directions, you're going to want to go through topics, and it's going to break it down for you exactly what you need to do to create your task. If you like short videos, trainings is going to be for you. You're going to see 1 and 2 minute videos, and they're going to give you that same information in little bite-sized pieces. What's new? This is always good to come and check out. Like last week when I was joining a meeting, I saw this pop up and I was like, well, that's different. So I could come to what's new. I'd be like, okay, what is this? And it will explain to me what the new feature is. As you can see, they're putting them out all the time. So I gave you a lot about Teams. I'm going to bounce back here. We're at the hour mark. If you need to take a 2-minute break, I totally understand. If you want to come off mic, ask me a question, you want me to show you something again, let me know. Otherwise, I'll move on to OneNote. And we're going to dive in there a little deeper. I already gave a little bit with the sharing of into Teams and from Outlook, but we're going to take a little deeper dive. How you doing? Everybody okay?
I do have a question. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Go ahead.
I may have missed it. Where do you create the link, like if I want to share with my students to come on every day for class?
Okay, so you want to create a meeting link? Is that, am I understanding you correctly?
Yes, ma'am. And what?
Okay. So you can do that in a couple places. So you can do it from calendar and create a meeting link. So you would go over here up. So I went to calendar. I went to schedule a meeting. And then you can give it a title. You can give it, you can assign the students. If it's your whole class, you can add it to a channel. Okay. And then here you can put it's every day, daily, weekly, however you'd like to put that.
Okay, and when you do that, it creates the link for them to click on
Yes.
and log in. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so if we saved that, it would create, if we added it to the channel, it would go directly to that channel. So if we go back here to, I think we did it in the PLC, maybe we did it. I'm trying to remember, in science. Yes. So here it automatically added that link. So if we click on it, it's going to take me right there. They can click join, and you'll have those options.
Perfect.
They can
Thank
even
you.
just view the meeting details. So did that answer your question?
It did.
Okay.
I thought it was something more complicated than that. So that's perfect. Thank you very much.
I am going to complicate it for you too. If you don't want to leave and go to calendar and do it, you can do it right here too. If you see up here in the corner, and then it will automatically show up. So here, if we schedule a meeting, I'm going to see it already posted to that channel because we're in that channel. So it even saved you that step. So you can do it a couple different ways. So I hope I didn't make it worse for you by telling you that.
No, you didn't. You gave me 2 ways to do it. I appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Anything else I can help with at this point?
I have a question, Jennifer.
Yeah.
So the way that Canvas works is it creates the class notebook and it's populated from there. And so I have my class notebooks. I'm trying to put those notebooks into one team.
Okay.
How do I do that?
Okay. So are they a OneNote or are they a class notebook?
They're a class notebook.
All right. So the best way I know how to do that right now is to go to all teams. I would create a team. So when you, all right, this is going to get a little complicated because you have more than one.
Okay.
But if let's just create, I'm just going to call this team 1, 2, 3, just to go quickly. But I created a class one because you have a class notebook. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
So up here, when I go to generate a class notebook, it's going to ask me, do I want a new one or do I want to use one from previous? So here's that setup, and this is where it's going to ask you from existing.
Okay.
So that's where you're going to want to pull from existing.
Okay.
And you can pull it from there. Did I click the wrong? So you can pull it from there. Now, it won't let you here if you do the plus. It's only going to let you do a OneNote. It won't let you do a class notebook at this point. Yeah. My understanding is that they're working on that part.
Okay.
Now, the other thing, another workaround, if you're having difficulty with those, is you can do a straight up web link.
Okay.
So when you're in a OneNote, so this is a OneNote that we're working on for that demonstration purposes. We're going to go into in a little bit. You have your share option up here. So you could just share that link and link it to the team if you need to.
Okay. So I could go into the team and link it. Okay.
Yeah. So again, it would be going in here to the team, clicking a web link. You know so you can label it your class notebook.
Okay.
Put your URL in here and it will create a tab for it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? If that gives you a hard time, reach out to me. It might be how permissions are set up and we can play with it. Okay,
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. Right now, since I know Canvas is something you all are using, I've created a OneNote for you guys that I'm gonna leave with you today. And in that OneNote, there is information about Canvas and Teams. And there's a really good video. It's with Canvas engineers and a Microsoft one. And they talk about integrating the two together and how to especially integrate Microsoft Teams, the meetings. So take a look at that. That might help answer some questions for people too.
Okay, thank you.
This resource will be available to you guys. I'm gonna give everyone the link today. Okay, so I think I think, let me just make sure I know I went through so much with you. I just want to make sure there's a couple more things I just want to point out in Teams. You also can have weekly assignment summary emails for parents or guardians. That's an option. And here is how that can get engaged if you want that. Here are all of the things that are being released either now or shortly. Mike Thulson is one of the Microsoft representatives that he was an engineer that worked on Immersive Reader. He has a couple other things he's doing right now, but he keeps us all very up to date on what's happening. So you can see here that 7x7 grid is coming out in August. Together mode, dynamic view is coming, and that's where you're going to have some control over the content and then being able to see a few students on the side. So you're going to be able to play with your screen a little more. Breakout rooms are coming. If you want, I can show you a workaround for breakout rooms until those are truly up and running. But this will give you an idea if there's something that you're looking for when it will be out. We talked about logging into everything from office.com. Here are all these resources that I'm giving to you. Again, these are all live links. There's some great quick start guides that are just really great, easy visuals. I have some more just for kids and students and for families. And then this is a link to that OneNote of resources. If you are part of the Microsoft Education Center, I'm giving you a code today an achievement code to redeem. If you are not aware of what the Microsoft Education Center is, let me show you that really quick because I'm going to give you a code for each of the things that we're going to be doing today. So the Microsoft Education Center is free to educators. All you need to do is create a profile with your email. And when you go under your profile, here's where you can redeem the achievement code, and you just plug in that code. And then what happens is after 2 hours of coursework or 500 points, and every hour of coursework is equal to 500 points, so it would be 1,000 points, you would get your MIE, Microsoft Innovative Educator badge would be assigned to you. So after those 2 hours or 1,000 points. We kind of just did a Teams 101. If it didn't, it should give you the badge for that. I put it in to give you that badge. If it didn't, one of the things you can always do is go in here. I like to use the Education Center under training and then courses, and then I can pull up, say, Flipgrid, and I can just see the courses there. If you feel really good or confident on a subject, you can do these. They're all asynchronous. So you can go through, look over the material, just take the quiz at the end. It's usually 10 to 20 questions, multiple choice, and it'll award you the badge. So again, that's all free. There's a lot of great resources in here. There's a lot with remote learning, how to create presentations. So there's so much. So I just want to let you know you have that free resource available to you. So in every presentation today, I've included a code for you to redeem. And then, I'm going too fast for you, sorry. Here is that overview of the teams. If you're like, I'm not sure which team I want to create, I've given you a little breakdown of each team, the features, and hopefully that will help you decide what you'd like to do for teams. So I'm leaving all of this with you. I'm going to switch over to OneNote today for now. So I'm going to skip all that just to keep it moving. So what is OneNote? Oh, hang on. This is fighting me now. Okay, I like to present in here with the book setting so that I can still have access to everything, but that's why you're seeing stuff pop up too. All right, OneNote, you really want to think of it like a physical notebook. It really is set up that way. It has tabs and sections and pages, and each page is like a blank OneNote. You can add anything to it. You can add videos. You can add documents. You saw how we were able to add emails. So it really is amazing. You can work even offline. I love it for staying organized. Like that's how I created this OneNote of resources. As I started learning about Microsoft products, I just started one tab at a time and have, really been able to build a nice little library. Even for myself, I like to go back and I can go back in here and look. Now this is a plain notebook and it just has those tabs and then the pages. When you click on each thing, right click on them, you get more options. So here you can delete a section, rename a section. I can move or copy. This is where it's really nice. I can take that entire section and every page that it belongs to it and move it to another notebook or copy it to another notebook. So it really makes for ease if you wanted to put a different notebook out for different classes. That can make it really easy. I actually would suggest doing different. If you have the same class all day long, one notebook should be fine. But if you're teaching multiple classes, you may want different notebooks for those classes. And this would let you be able to share that content without having to rework it. If we click on the pages and right click there, we're given a different set. And we have a few more options here too. I just want to point out, if we click on the binder at the top, it does this close this binder. That means delete. So be very careful with that. Close means delete. And you just be very mindful of that. You can copy links to the notebook. This is where we were talking about earlier. If you need to share it somewhere, you can copy those links. So that is just a plain OneNote. You have so many options in here. Right now it's not lit up because I didn't have a page available. But you can add tables, files, printouts, pictures, online videos. You can embed those directly in here, which is so nice because, again, everything's in one spot. You don't have to jump around. You have options of stickers. Kids can even research in here. They can look things up in a very safe way without having to leave this area. And they will, have all their resources over here. They can take their notes and work here. So it's such a great one-stop shop. Here are all your drawing features. You have View. This is where you can access Immersive Reader. You can make your pages lined. You can create grids. So whatever you need, it is there for you. You also have translation features in here. And then again, Microsoft never leaves you high and dry. You have training videos. You have step-by-step help. It's all here for you. I'm going to show you a notebook that as a class notebook and how I use the class notebook. Let me get some of this closed up so it's not so busy. So when you, excuse me, when you start working, it's going to start you off in the welcome page. And again, it's just going to give you all that information about how your class notebook is set up. Here's your collaboration space. Know that in your collaboration space, this is where everyone can work and write. So an example I have here is if I put up tangrams, all the students chose a different marker and were able to go in and highlight their shapes, and we were all able to work together. Content library, whatever you put in here is going to be view only. So you want to put things that you want your students to have access to and be able to see, but maybe not necessarily touch or interact with. Down here, I highly recommend enabling the teacher-only workspace. Here is where you're going to get to be able to work on things without having the students seeing it. They won't even see that tab. It is only viewable to the teacher that created the notebook. So for example, here I have a plant study guide for Friday for a test. what I did was I want to make that tab for the kids. So here, these are the tags. You can also create new ones. So this is a great little visual reminder. You can set up what you want those visual reminders to be for your students so that when they see that star, they're going, uh-oh, this is important. I better be mindful of that. So once I've worked on this, it's ready to go to the kids. I can go to Class Notebook. I can distribute the page. I can distribute it to everyone. I can give it to certain students, or if I had groups set up, which I don't at this point. So I'm going to distribute the page. It's going to give me this pop-up over here on the side, and I'm going to say I want to put that in science section for everyone. So if you look over here, you have your science tabs, and these are all created when you create the notebook. You set that up. And I'm going to say distribute it to science, and it's going to send that out to everybody. And you can see a day ago, I distributed a creative writing assignment, and that is almost complete. It'll give me a little notice when it's finished. I can go over here to science, and you can see there it is. It popped up. You can see I've done that now a couple times. Oh, nope, that's not the one. Let's see, it should actually be, oh no, that's the date I created it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at that the wrong way. So you can see where I've distributed pages before to students. If we go back over here to the teacher only, I want to show immersive reader quickly, just to let you know, if you're not familiar with it, what a powerful tool it is. So I went under view, I clicked immersive reader, and it will read to the students. You can choose the speed, male or female voice. Up here at the top, you can choose text size. So if you have a student with visual needs, you can increase spacing or decrease spacing. These three fonts are recognized by the Dyslexia Association. Sitka is specially designed by Microsoft for this application. Here are the Erlang colors. As you can see here, this is just plain like you would normally find. And then you can choose different fonts. What they have found is even students who are gifted, about 12 to 14% of gifted students find this so helpful because it eases eye fatigue. I mean, even myself, if I go back to that bright white, it's not as comforting on the eyes as if I go to a mellower color. But they have found an increase in accuracy, an increase in, there's been over 54 different research studies, and they've all compiled the improvements students have made with using this simple change of Erlang colors. Especially now with working online, you have a lot less fatigue in your eyes. Students have said that it is much easier, much more engaging. They can work longer when they're using those. So definitely what's really great too is the kids don't have to ask for this. It is all built in. I love this one for the little guys. Breaks apart the syllables, and it really helps to increase. You'll see an increase in fluency and reading overall. They've seen sometimes up to 10 points increasing. Here's great for teaching writing or just teaching parts of speech. So maybe you're doing a writing and you really want to emphasize adjectives, and you want students to go back and check their work to see if they've included adjectives. Well, you can have them turn on adjectives. Maybe you want to change the color because of we have that green background, and they can go back and see if they actually added adjectives. Then the last one here is your line focus. This is a great presentation tool. I think it also is really good for students who just need that extra mindfulness of where they are when they're reading. You also have built-in picture dictionaries. So if I have it just set here, I'm going to just get English, it will read it. If I have translation turned on, It will translate the word. It becomes bilingual. And then I can go in here and also translate the entire document, and it will read it in the language of choice. You have almost 70 languages to choose from. So this is a great resource that you may want to show your students that it is available to them, especially with remote learning. Kids are coming to us from all different backgrounds. It might be grandma who's helping them at home. And this just may be some extra support that they need. It is all built in here in Immersive Reader, in Teams. You have all of that. It's under View. Anytime you see this speaker and the book, you have Immersive Reader available to you. It is built into Forms. If you are a Google user, again, Microsoft likes to play nice. They want everyone to have availability to this. They have partnered with a third party, and there is a Google extension for Immersive Reader that you can add. So another thing I want to point out with you, because I know we're getting really close on, I want to keep moving. You have math samples. So if you go in here under draw, you can ink it or you can type it. And if you, I don't know if that'll work. There we go. Then if I click math, I can choose what I want to solve for. It will show the steps for solving this equation, and it will read it to them in the correct mathematical terms. Again, you see the speaker and the book is all built in here for you. So you have all of this built in. Take advantage. These are great resources. There's nothing you have to add. It is all there for you. So I just want to point out too, before we leave here, so you have that teacher only section where you can work when you're ready. I showed you how to go to class notebook, distribute the pages. So once you distribute those pages and you want to review students' work, again, you go under class notebook, go to review students' work. We'll click on that. I'm going to close some of this. I got a lot going on here. I want to review an ELA assignment. I can choose what I'd like. I'm going to review a APE writing with the students, and all my students' work pops up here. So I can just click through. I can write and annotate using the draw and just give nice comments. I can insert the stickers or emojis, and here's some fun ones where you can actually write in them and you can choose what you want it to say, and then it will post it to that page. You can just go through and click. What's really great too is here you have a student replied with an audio recording. They can also have on the home, they have dictate as an option for responding. So students can ink their response if they have a tablet or the inking ability. They can type their response. They can do an audio recording, or they can do dictation. And then you have multiple ways of responding back to them. You can also insert an audio recording. You can insert stickers. You can annotate and write on their work. So you have a lot of ways of going back and forth with communication. I want to show you how even with the little ones you can do that. So one of the teams I have built was for the preschool set. And one of the things that I got a lot of feedback on when I was creating remote learning was that parents wanted everything in one place. So that's where I put together this website as a SharePoint. Oh, that's because I logged out a while ago. There we go. Oh, come on. Okay. Thank you for being patient. And yes, we will stay logged in. There we go. So I wanted to put all these resources in one place. I can post events, meetings, everything can be here for parents. And then what I did was everything is in one place here. All the math, we're going to put the assignment up, then the videos here, what the articles there, everything they need is there. They have the translation, the immersive reader is all there for them. Then too, they can have, oh, click the wrong tab. If we go back to general, I have a class notebook, and the way I set the class notebook up is the same thing to mimic the channels and keep it really nice and simple. So if we go in here and I click on one of the, say this is one of the students, you're going to see that these mimic the channels. But in the collaboration and content library spaces, I wanted to make sure kids had access to things in articles that they might need. So we're going to include social stories for them and make it a great place for parents. So we're using this notebook, yes, for the kids, but we're also in this notebook adding some parent spaces. So that might be another element to think about when you're creating your class and creating your notebook, to keep everything again in one place. You have the parent resources and what the students are working on. Another thing I want to point out in the teacher only. So here for activities, one of the things that I did was I created an audio recording of exactly how I wanted the students to complete this worksheet. So I have an audio recording, I won't make you listen to it, but start at number 1. Connect the dots all the way down. So it's not just reading directions to them, but I can actually talk to them as if I were in the same room coaching them how to do it. And then what I like is with that distribution, I can distribute 2 different A's. I can maybe do a higher level for certain students, and I can do a more simplistic one for other students. So you really have a lot of options when you get into that class notebook and you want to distribute. So if I go to individual, I can go over here and I can just click off, the 3 or 4 kids I want to get this worksheet. I can go back to the other one, same thing, do an individual and get some of that movement. Again, I want to point out Microsoft is so great with help. It's always built in here for you. I want to make sure I leave us enough time to get to Flipgrid. So I'm going to bop back to our meeting. I see some hands raised. Tammy, how can I help you?
I'm sorry, you already did. Sorry.
You're good? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything with, I know I gave you a lot on OneNote really quickly. How do you feel comfortable with distributing pages? You can upload them from anywhere. I'll give you another trick too. I don't know if you're familiar with Office Lens. That is a completely free app that you can download on your phone. If you have worksheets that you've been doing for years or projects that you really love, you can take a picture with Office Lens. It will create a digital copy of it, and you can upload that directly into OneNote or to a team. And it will also has the immersive reader features built into Office Lens. I see a question in chat. I'm going to pop over here. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't even, if anyone needs access to something that I've shown you, just reach out to me and I can help you out with some resources too. So don't worry about that part. In the OneNote here, there's a lot of information too about just a basic OneNote, and then I have some on the class notebook and the collaboration spaces there. And then in our PowerPoint, I kind of went really quickly because I knew we were running out of time. There's a little video with an overview of PowerPoint we didn't get to. Here is the staff notebook, and it's got a little more of the collaboration and content spaces outlined for you. This is in the PowerPoint. And then here is your Microsoft education code if you want to redeem for OneNote. And then here are some quick start guides, this OneNote interactive guide, if you want to use OneNote, this guide is the way to go. This will walk you through it, whether you're doing a basic OneNote, if you're doing a class or staff notebook. I highly recommend this as a resource. It is in the PowerPoint as one of your options. Okay, if nothing else, you guys have been amazing. I thank you so much for sticking with me. I know 2 hours is a long time. You all have been wonderful. We're going to move into Flipgrid. This is so fun. They have put out so many new things. So we're going to take a little quick look at what Flipgrid is. If you haven't used Flipgrid, I do want to put out a little disclaimer. There were some questions about security with Flipgrid. So I have a couple slides at the end dedicated just to that. If I think I went too far, hang on. Let me get, oh, I don't want to start there. Here we go, terms of use. So I wanted to include these. One of the things that they recommend is that there is, here, so I put in all the privacy issues, and I also put in there is a consent form for using Flipgrid that you can send out to your parents if it's something that you're going to use. I got all of these off of the Flipgrid website. So I just want you to be aware of that, if that, that those are there for you. If it's something you want to use, if your school district feels that's necessary, they're there for you. So before we got too far into this. So what is Flipgrid? Flipgrid is a leading video discussion platform. It's meant for pre-K up to PhD educators, families, everyone can use it. It's used throughout the world. Teachers post topics to spark the conversation, and students respond with short videos. So one of the things that I'm getting positive feedback on Flipgrid with teachers is it really lets them get to know their students, and it really lets them get to know what their students' preferences and personal tastes are. And that sometimes can be really hard with online learning, to getting to know your kids. And the other nice thing about it is nobody just sits in the back of the room quietly and doesn't say anything, because everyone's participating. You get to hear all of their voices. And that's one of the things that Flipgrid prides itself on, is that it is a great platform for student voice. So what is student voice? In education, student voice refers to values, opinions, beliefs, perspectives, cultural background, and it really lets those kids express themselves and give their interest and opinions, and it lets you get to know them in a special way. So I have a quick little video explaining Flipgrid, so I hope you enjoy it. So they just gave it to you in a nutshell. We'll break it down and we will, oh, hang on. Let me get out of that. My goodness, it's not letting me out. Minimize that. All right, I apologize. Let me get that. My goodness, Flipgrid got away from me. All right, let me try it. There we go, if I go on the side. All right, so what's new out this week? A lot. If you've used Flipgrid before, they have changed. Grids are now called groups. You can now create a standalone topic and not have to create a group. So that is a nice new feature. Before, you used to have to create a group before you created a topic. Now they can be standalone. I'm going to show you how to do individual email addresses, how to set all that up. But I wanted to give this to you if you already had a little experience with Flipgrid. These are some of the biggest changes I saw, and just the overall formatting. So you have a lot more options with your cameras now, a lot more fonts, filters, there's frames, stickers. I mean, there's a ton out there. Flipgrid has also paired with Made by Dyslexia. Let me show you that link, and then we're going to go into Flipgrid and I'll show you around.
Miss Jory, there's no sound to the video.
Miss Jerry, are you there?
Yes.
We can't hear it.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Thank you for stopping me. Okay. Let me see what happened with the presenting, if it stopped off. Okay, let me re-share that and figure out, so I make sure I include audio. All right, I will not waste your time and I'll back this up to about, we'll get rid of all. So in the beginning of this video, they just talk about all the niceties of dyslexia, and how, the proud they are of their students that accomplish things. And then here's where it really starts the information about Flipgrid with dyslexia.
Hi there, I'm Kate Griggs from Made by Dyslexia. We're a global charity and we exist to help the world properly understand, value and support dyslexic students. Dyslexia is a brilliant, creative, fantastic way of thinking that we know from our research is vital for the workforce of the future. So we've partnered with Microsoft to produce some free online training films that will help every single teacher to spot, support and empower their dyslexic students. We've also created some fabulous contents for kids with some very inspirational interviews with successful and celebrity dyslexics. And we are super excited to announce that all of our content is going to be made available on the Flipgrid Discovery Library. We really, really hope you'll be able to use the content to enable and empower every dyslexic student to reach their potential. Thank you so much.
So they really put a lot out there for you.
Working with dyslexic kiddos is awesome because it's made me a better teacher and it's made me
so we're going to go
ways to help them.
The Flipgrid now, and I'll show you around Flipgrid. Okay, let me go back to the main page so you can see how to enter. I don't know if it's going to let me here. Okay, let me just type in Flipgrid. So you're going to enter. It even has a new looking page right now. You'll sign up. It's all completely free. If you have a login already, if you do not, if you sign up, it can link to your Google address or a Microsoft address, or pretty much any email, but it will automatically link to those. And when it does that, especially if you're using Teams and you have an Outlook address, it will be able to connect easily to all of your Teams in OneNote. So when you get in here, you can see I have 2 groups made. I'm going to go back into editing so you can see what those groups look like and how they're set up. So I gave the group a name. I could give it a code. What's nice is it's customizable. So you can be able to do your name and room number. As long as it's available, you'll see that availability sign. Now this is where you want to be careful with permissions. So what they're talking about, so it's student emails. If you're working with older students that use their email, this is probably the way you want to go in on it. And what you want to be careful of is sometimes teachers' emails are different than student emails. You want to put whatever's after that @ sign in here. And it will only let people in that have that part of the email. So you can't, if I'm only putting in the @usmie.com, anybody with a Google address cannot get in. Anybody with a Microsoft address cannot get in. Only people in my organization with that can get in. If you have littler ones, you might want to use the student username, where you can put their name, first name, last name, and give them a username. Then it'll create, and you can make this, you can download this and print QR codes for them. And then here too, there's that print the student list. You can also do that optional guest passwords if you need it. Down here, you can, let me just explain. If you're going to use public, I would only use it for when you want to reach a wide audience or an adult audience. That's what I would save public for. So if you're doing something through, a book club across 2 different districts or something like that. You have features as your group. If you're working on it, you might want to keep your group hidden until you're ready to allow it. Do you want followers? Allow students to receive email notifications. These are what you want to customize. So I just chose one of the little backgrounds that they had available. Here's a bunch. You can also do a personalized one. I'll update that group. And then that's how we've started a group. You can see I have a bunch of topics already created for this group. Here is adding a co-pilot if you want to add another teacher to it. Here is what it's going to look like when my students log in. So this is what they're going to see. And they're going to see these different codes that I have, this code hour that we have set up for them to do. Now you'll see here again that immersive reader is built into Flipgrid. There's our code. This is the code. When we first logged in, it said to log in with an email or a code. This is the code the kids will log in with. Then down here, this is how, after they go through, read all of this, if they're ready to respond, they will go down here, press record, and record their response. Before we look at that, I want to bounce back to the page, main page, and I want to go across the top and give you some easy ways to get started, because you don't feel like you have to create everything from scratch. That discussion is going to take you to your home page where you're going to have all of your things set up. You can see here I'm active. These 2 groups are active, not hidden. Here are your share options. It has some great things already built into Teams, built into Google Classroom, Remind. You can give out QR codes. So that will give you the code for the entire group. If they go to that group, they'll see all 6 topics. There is a spot where if you want to just share the topic, you can do that, and you can share that specific join link for that specific topic. And again, you have your options of how to share it. So, and you have your actions here. You can record a response, you can edit. If you created it and you love it and you want to share it, you can add it to the Discovery Library. We're going to look there next. You can hide things so your kids don't see them until you're ready. If you have multiple groups, you can move the topic, duplicate the topic. You can export or delete it. So that is pretty much showing you around your discussion. Discovery, this is so cool. If you don't want to start and come up with stuff from scratch, this is the place to check it out. And it is not, yes, it's wonderful that teachers have posted things, but you also have the Metropolitan Museum of Art. You have TED Talks. You have the World War II Museum, BBC World News. Here's Made by Dyslexia, the Met. You have so many companies and partners that are part of this group. So here are things that are trending, and then you can come up here and filter and look for things, search by topics. You can view by topics. When you come in here, you can view by subject. You can choose by audience. And it gives you a lot of different options, and then you can add them to your group, or you can send that topic to your students. Activity, this is letting you know what's going on with your groups, how many you've created, how many you've shared, your achievements. Mixtapes. This is where you can create video collages, and you can really, if you have students that are doing an amazing job and you want to share their work, or you want to do an end of the year collage and pull the highlights from the year, this is where you're going to do that and create a mixtape. So when you're viewing videos, you can, one of your options is to add to mixtapes, and you would do that there. And then this is, once you're finished, this is where they'll all live. We're going to go into the videos. I want to show you how to do this. There's so much available. So you saw that record option. Well, here's where, if you just want to record a video for your students, you want to make an exemplar video, this is where you can do it without having to tie it to an assignment. So you're going to go in here, and we're loading, and you have a 10-minute video limit. When you're creating an activity, you can set how long you want the video. Maybe you just want a 2-minute video from your students. When you're in an activity, that is one of the options you have for setting. I'm going to show you here. There's Milo in the background, my dog. He's napping. He's my coworker there. So you can see here, you can upload video clips. You can mirror. Hello. Hello. You have audio or no audio. I'm not going to do that because I don't want it to mess with it. I have to be careful right now because I'll have too many different things competing for my microphone and cameras. So, but I want to show you our options here for that. But then effects. This is where the kids go nuts, and they love it, and they get engaged with it. So you have your filters, so you can change it. Maybe we don't need to see Milo sleeping in the background in my guest room, so we're going to put and pixelate it. I'm going to go back to a softer background, a little bit black and white. And then here you can click on effects, or you can click the arrow to choose to close that. If we go back here, we'll get back to our main menu. Frames. Kids are having a lot of fun with these. You can have breaking news, or maybe you are in the ocean. So then you can have it look like a Polaroid. Just, there's so much to do. Emojis. There is a lot in here. Spend some time with this. It's not just the little happy faces. You have a lot more going on than that. I mean, this scrolls down forever and a day here. You have people. So maybe you don't want to be talking, and maybe I'd like to be a redhead today. So I can go and make her my person, and I can be her, and she can be my talking head. And now you don't see me, and I get a break from the day of having to put myself together. You can go back in here to emojis. I want to point out a couple more things, maybe it'll let me. In emojis, why am I not getting that? Okay, there are a lot more options. So you have people, you have accessories, you have reactions. This is where you're going to get a lot of math symbols. You have magic, and then here I want to make sure I spend some time with this. You have the American Sign Language. Please take a look. There's so many great stuff. American Sign Language, it's taking a minute to load. Every one of those dots will be a different hand, a letter or symbol. In here too, you have the ability to add text. So you can just make a text box, you can choose it and it will do it in that font. You can draw and annotate. You have boards, so you can create graphs. So maybe you just want to do a recording and do a math illustration of how graphing is going to happen. You have notebook paper. You have a lot of different options available to you. You also have a whiteboard. Oh, we were just there. Then you have also photos. So you can customize and pull those up. Last thing I want to show you is that you also have the ability for, let me get out of this so that I feel like I can't, there's a thing for sticky notes. And the sticky notes really almost work like, I'm trying to see where they're under. I don't know why I'm missing them here. But sticky notes work like cue cards, and they're not seen by the person by the people. They're only seen by the person recording. So then you can start your recording. It'll be 3, 2, 1. You can record, talk as long as you want. Then when you're done, stop it. You can pause and start up again, redo it, or you can go to next. Once you go to next, you can record, talk as long as you want. Then when you're done, okay, we don't need to keep doing that one. All right, then we go to next. It does want you to take a selfie. If you don't want, you can do that or not do that. But what it'll do is this will be your thumbnail for the recording. So it'll do a selfie. We'll go to next, and then it's uploading your video. So then you can post that where you need to. And I just want to go back here to our discussion. I want to go to one of our topics. Say hello from Flipgrid. If we click on that, I want to show you the student view. And then if they go to record, that's where they're going to do it. So they're going to have all those same options if they start the recording here. So I would join with my Microsoft account. It wants to make sure that I'm logged in successfully, allow all that good stuff, and then you can record from here. Here are the sticky notes. And then I can put in, hi, I'm Jennifer, and I can put as many of these in here as I need. I can move them all around so that they help me, maybe as prompts. Maybe you have a kid who's shy, and they're a good way to help your students. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to jump back to our meeting since we have 5 minutes left, and I want to make sure I answer questions for you. Okay, perfect. Thank you all. Please, I'm so glad you stopped me and got that back on the right track. Technology is wonderful, but it's never perfect for us. So how can I help you with everything I've shown you today? What I want to do, if anybody wants to come off microphone, I'm going to give you a copy to my bookings link. This is, I'm available to you. What this is you can, if you just have a quick question, you can use that and just book a little time with me. If you have a small group you want me to come and visit, if there's something you're like, I really liked this, but I want more information, we can do another training. If you see that in the OneNote that I gave you, I'm going to do another link for that too. If in there you see a topic and you're like, oh, I'd love more information on that, let me know. And I'll be happy to do another training for you. What can I do for you with the amount? I feel like I gave you all so much. Any questions with anything I showed you today? I'm gonna pull back up.
I just want to say I really appreciate this, and I think that I know I've had questions come up as I've been trying to use especially ClassNote and just trying to figure out. I feel like I'm always missing out on something great that it does, and then I find out at the end, I'm like, oh, okay. So is there a place where some of these tips and tricks can be found?
Yeah, that one, let me see if I have it pulled up. If I don't, I'm going to pull it up for you. I think I was pulling it up earlier. If you're talking about OneNote, this is, I think, the magical place. So what this does is it walks you through step by step. It's an interactive guide. So what it does is it gives you a little bit of an introduction, and then it will actually walk you through the steps, and you can pause, try it before you move on to the next step. So if you wanted OneNote, this would be the place I would recommend going to. I found this was the most friendly. And to give yourself grace, because even myself, I'm constantly, even though it's my job to learn these Microsoft products, they're always putting out something new. There's so many layers to it. Do what you feel comfortable, get good at that, and then add something else. Sometimes it's easier to do it in bite size than trying to take on the whole thing. In the Teams notes, if there was a resource I would recommend in here, going to Teams, there's a quick start guide for educators. And this one's really great. It's just real simple. It gives you what each of the features are, where they're located. It's real nice, bite-sized. There's one also for students. So if you wanted to get out a student guide, that's here too. There's also great videos. This is a link here to quick video tips. Each one is only a minute or two long. So check out, this is that resource I just posted in the chat. That might be helpful too. Yes, there's three different codes actually for today's training. So I'm going to get you all three right now. And let me bounce over here to, I'm going to pull all of them off my training tracker because it'll be easier for me. And I will put all three of the codes in the chat for us. Okay, so here we go. So this is the Teams code. I'm just going to do these one at a time to make it so they're not overwhelming going in here. This is for Teams. that's that code. Let me bop over. I'm going to get the OneNote code. This is for OneNote. And then this last one here is going to be for the Flipgrid. And feel free, if you feel comfortable with all of this material, you can go in and there's 2 different Flipgrid courses. And if you feel comfortable, go take both, you know, of the quizzes and get credit for both. It's whatever your comfort level is.
Does everyone in Berewick know where to go to put those codes in?
I can pull that up for you too. So you're going to go, let me go back here to the main page so I get the right. Here is the code for that link. And that's the Microsoft Education Center. And even if you have questions next week, I'll be happy to meet with you. Last week I was meeting with teachers from a high school and just walking them through. They were even sharing their screen with me, and we were, working through their documents and really helping them specifically. So you all have a lot on your plate with this upcoming school year. If there's something I can do to make it easier for you, please let me know.
Thank you so much. Oh, I think someone else is talking.
I'm sorry. I do have one quick question.
Sure.
You said something about a workaround because they haven't set up breakout rooms yet. Is that something quick, or I can schedule a time to do it one-on-one?
No, I can show you that quick because other people might have that question too. Let me just bop back to Teams. So if we go into Teams, what you're going to want to do is, I want to just get to a team where I have the channel set up. So when you click on here, I can click Meet Now. If I click Meet Now, it's going to, let me make sure my camera's off, because if my camera's off, then I won't be competing. I think my camera's off. We're fine. If I click Meet Now with this group in the reading, it's going to do a Meet Now. And then I can join. Let me turn off the microphone there too. Join.
We can't hear you.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, so what she's saying, I get what she's saying. So she is right now in her channels, in her teams, she is on a video call on one of the other ones. She's still a part of this video call. But if you look in the participants list, she's listed as on hold.
But it will take everybody that was just in that call and leave her out. So she would create the breakout room with this is workaround is just creating a room that takes her out of it so she can do something else. But the kids in our case would be here by themselves, basically.
Well, yeah, same. So same with the breakout room to where like you can bounce back and forth. And she's saying you can have multiple calls going within different channels and bounce back and forth between them.
It cut me out when I bounced in the meetings, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was afraid of that. So what happens is because it had me bounce into the science meeting. So let me do it without actually explaining it. So what I did was on the reading, I clicked Meet Now. Then a little camera showed up to show that I was in that meeting. Then I did the same thing for science. I did the same thing for social studies. And then what you could do was bounce. So when you see those purple little cameras at each one, you can bounce in and out of the meetings. So what happened was I bounced out of this meeting and bounced into the science meeting. And so it will just let you flip back and forth. So what I would do is I would set these up as, you know, I would make channels group 1, group 2, group 3, whatever number of groups you need, and then you can assign the kids to those channels. And then it'll let you flip back and forth between them. So you want to use the Meet Now. You don't want to schedule a meeting. Meet Now is what'll let you do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Sorry, I was trying to avoid that bopping out of this one. Anything else? I can stay on for a few minutes, so don't feel, but I also want to be respectful of your time. All right, so if there's, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording, and then, but I'm going to stay on for a few minutes. If you